I think we can all agree that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a piece of art. It was released 3 years ago and it is still the best, most detailed open world game to ever release. There's been a lot of games that have been hyped up to beat Red Dead Redemption 2 since then, but they have all failed, some quite miserably. Now there's a lot of crazy stuff about Red Dead Redemption 2, but today we're going through pointless facts about the game that all dedicated fans should know. Before I do get into the video, if you enjoy the content here and want to see a bit more from me, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. If you're looking for some content which is slightly more entertaining, where we play a variety of other games, then there is a link in the description down below which will take you over to the second YouTube channel. Over there we are streaming 3 days per week playing the latest games that have just been released. So if that does interest you, as said, link is in the description down below. Getting back into the video, we will be looking at pointless facts about Red Dead Redemption 2. These facts are interesting. It gives an insight to the lengths in which Rockstar went to when developing the game, and some of the crazy stuff that can be done in game for yourselves. Knowing everything that we talk about in this video does make you more knowledgeable on this topic, but it doesn't actually change too much. It doesn't make you better at the game, hence why they're pointless. So let's actually get into this. The game took about 8 years to put together from start to finish, with it being backed with about $540 million. With the release in 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 broke several records and had the second biggest launch in the history of entertainment, generating around $725 million in sales in its opening weekend and exceeding the lifetime sales of Red Dead Redemption in just 2 weeks. At the time of recording this video, Take-Two Interactive have reported over 16 million copies that have been sold. Moving on to the actual development of the game, the main story script is about 2,000 pages long and this has been cut down. When the script was first being put together, there were plans for Arthur Morgan to be within New Austin. You can actually check this yourself because there is still certain gameplay features that are accessible to Arthur in-game. This would be points of interest that get noted down in his journal in different type of writing with a different type of art compared to what John is able to do at the end of the game. The motion capture was approximately 2,000 days of work, with there being over 300,000 individual animations and there are around 500,000 lines of dialogue. This amount of dialogue lines is way more than the average game. This is because with Red Dead Redemption 2 they re-recorded them multiple times in different tones. You may notice this when you are playing the game, that if you are very close to certain characters when they're talking, they'll talk with their inside voice. But if you are a lot further away, they will end up shouting the exact same lines. Not every single character will do this within game, but only those with important dialogue. When it comes to hiring, Rockstar Games employed over 1,000 actors and over 3,000 people worked on it in total, with there only being one celebrity hired. Of course, now some of the voice actors for the game are celebrities in their own right, but in the first time round, the only celebrity at the time was Graham Greene. Rockstar used to involve celebrity cameos within their games all the time. There's a list of many different celebrities such as Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky Gervais, Phil Collins. But since then, Rockstar have stopped using famous actors. It all comes down to this quote: "We don't bring in name actors anymore because of their egos, and most importantly of all, because we believe we get a better sense of immersion using talented actors whose voices you don't recognize." This puts Graham Greene in a very unique position. Moving on to actual gameplay, there is a difference in AI between story versus online. Many people believe it's exactly the same, with online just having an online component, but it's impossible to do this. The main story was optimized to make the most of the current hardware that is available. The way that Rockstar got the most out of their game was by making sure that each NPC has their own lives to live. They'll wake up in the morning, go to work, do various activities, and at the end of the day they'll go back to their home. With online, it couldn't be done this way. If AI was built to this level whilst adding an online component on top, it wouldn't be optimized. In fact, it would probably break down hardware, with there being many disconnects bugs to the game. So with the AI, they made it slightly dumber. It still has an immersive factor, but they do not do as many activities of what they do within the main story. And you can easily check this yourself just by spending a day following different AI characters around. The ones in online will be doing far less compared to the ones in story. Going back to the main story itself, originally Arthur Morgan had 2 love interests. In the main game, we all know that Arthur is pursuing Mary, and we can all agree that he did deserve better. But there's been many mysteries pointing to a second love interest which we don't actually know the name of. We can assume, just like earlier when we talked about there being a lot of content such as New Austin being cut from the game, that there's also going to be a lot of other missions that was cut as well, potentially even a second love interest. Shopkeepers within game are unkillable. Yes, you can go and rob them, yes, you can go and shoot them, but they will respawn a few days later, and they will respawn with the wounds you inflicted on them. If you go to a gunsmith, shoot the shopkeeper in the head, and come back a few days later, that same shopkeeper would still be there behind the counter, but they'll have a bandage wherever it is you did shoot them. In this case, it was in the head. There are certain things that you can do within game where Arthur will talk to himself or even sing to himself. If you do just wait long enough, eventually Arthur will just start singing whilst being on horseback. This is just a random event that triggers and isn't something that you have to do specifically. If you do want to trigger something, then the best thing for you to do is to bring Arthur all the way over to one of the mirrors that you can find within the world. Arthur will see his reflection and he will start dissing himself. Apparently he doesn't think very highly of his looks. On top of Arthur having random encounters where he talks about himself, you can also have animals having random encounters as well. We're not talking about going past a set location where there's a legendary animal close by. No, instead we are talking about animals interacting with other animals. Just a few examples is possums playing dead, predators hunting their prey, and animals fighting each other like what you can see with bugs. All of these are characteristics that you can find with animals within real life, but it's been made to be this way within game to add to the immersion. You can find other characters that belong to other Rockstar titles within Red Dead Redemption 2. These are slight little cameos that Rockstar have placed within the background. They're not actually major characters and some of them don't even have lines, but they do look very similar. The best example that players have linked to all the time is the Joys of Civilization mission. This is where you meet this character who resembles Jimmy Hopkins within Bully. Now this is just one of the many examples that can be found within game. There's even quite a few fan theories out there which point to certain characters within Red Dead Redemption 2 linking back to the likes of Red Dead Revolver. A good example of this is that Red Harlow from Red Dead Revolver is actually Uncle within Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. This one's not so much as a fact, but definitely one of those which is an interesting mystery as part of the Red Dead community. If you was to travel the whole Red Dead Redemption 2 map from the top right in Roanoke all the way down to the bottom left of New Austin, it will take you 16 minutes. To complete the whole main story of the game, on average, it will take you around 47.5 hours to complete, with there being another 30 to 40 hours on top of this if you was to go through all side content. If you are a completionist and you want to push for that 100% on the game, it's going to take you on average about 176 hours. This is according to howlongtobeat.com. There's a very dedicated fanbase within the community that likes speedrunning this game, and some of them have been able to complete it substantially faster at around 13 hours. This is any percentage not to get 100%, but actually going through the full game in just 13 hours. Some of this stuff can be watched on YouTube. On the release back in 2018, the Pinkerton, the real-life private security and detective agency, sued Rockstar and the parent company Take-Two Interactive. The basis was that they had no right to use the name within Red Dead Redemption 2. The Pinkertons were actually looking for royalties for use of its name or a lump sum to settle out of court. A big part of the story does feature Pinkerton agents, normally referred to Pinkertons throughout the whole game. They're depicted as antagonists, constantly hunting down Dutch's gang and its members. And it's fair to say, because of this court case, that they weren't too happy with this. The argument from Take-Two is saying that their brand falls under fair use and is protected by the First Amendment principles. Since then, Take-Two has confirmed that the present-day Pinkerton Consulting and Investigation Company has withdrawn its claims against Red Dead Redemption 2 and Take-Two will not continue legal action against the Pinkerton. The way that this was settled was a statement saying that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a work of a fictional set in the late 1800s that only references historical events but also highlights that it's not the way that it all played out. But anyway guys, those are just some of the pointless facts to know about Red Dead Redemption 2. As said at the beginning, knowing all of this doesn't actually make you a better player within game, but it is definitely interesting to know. There's a lot more stuff out there, so if you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comment section down below if you would like to see a part 2 to this. If there's any crazy facts that you know about this game or its development which has not been mentioned in this video, then please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But anyway guys, I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did enjoy, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. But for now, I'm going to see ya.